management, and advertisers.
All right, what's going on, everybody? A very happy Monday. I hope everybody's doing well out there. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope everybody had a great weekend. You could be watching and listening on the Occupy Democrats Network, of course, the Washington Press Network, the FMAM Dial KSHP, my personal YouTube page, at PTL Radio Show, of course. And we appreciate you being a part of the show. We got the super chat going on YouTube. We'll be reading your questions and or comments live, as well as we ask that you please check out my personal website, which is pushingthelimits.live, where you can buy merchandise and make donations. And we appreciate you being here, everybody. We got a lot to get to. So coming up at the bottom of the hour, you might have heard of her before, CC Telfer. She was the first out transgender athlete to win an NCAA title when she took victory in the Division II 400-meter hurdles event. She's going to be joining us, scheduled at the bottom of the hour. A lot of questions to get to with her about transgender, attacks on the trans community, so on and so forth. I did have a January 6th insurrectionist that was scheduled to join us today. That has been rescheduled to Wednesday. And we have some great guests lined up for the remainder of the week. Now, a lot has transpired over the weekend. And certainly there's a lot to talk about. A story that put a smile on my face today was learning that the Philadelphia Eagles are not going to be visiting the White House. Made me a Philadelphia Eagles fan overnight, quite frankly. Now, we know if the Kansas City Chiefs had won, they would have been going to the White House. But, you know, this is unprecedented. I mean, it happened 11 times, I believe, in Donald Trump's first administration, where the Golden State Warriors and many other teams refused to go to the White House, and rightfully so. And people have been saying to me, Brian, why wouldn't you take the opportunity to go to the White House if you were invited? Well, he called a lot of those players sons of bitches. Do you remember when many of those players were taking a knee for equality during those Colin Kaepernick days of peaceful protest, and Donald Trump called them sons of bitches? If somebody called me a son of a bitch, I probably wouldn't want to be going either. So I don't blame them. I commend them. And I'm very happy that the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl, too, because I'm sick of the Chiefs, quite frankly. And Pat Mahomes and his idiot wife, who are big MAGA supporters, can shove it. So I'm happy that the Philadelphia Eagles have taken the opportunity not to go to the White House. I'm very happy to hear that. So that was a story that put a smile to my face. Now, we keep hearing every single day how much money Doge is saving us, right? Fraud. They keep using the word fraud. They use it at press conferences. Caroline Leavitt uses it. And here's the question, and I said this on social media earlier today. In this country, if you commit fraud, it's a crime. Sometimes it can equal jail time. So nobody's been prosecuted. No names have been put forth towards prosecutors. Nothing. Nothing to law enforcement. If we are seeing all this alleged fraud across the country, why have they not released any names? Why have they not really released anything to the public? And why have they not gone after anybody that is allegedly committing this fraud? That's how you know they're all full of crap and they're lying. Fraud is a crime in this country. And if you're committing it, especially if you're a part of the Trump administration, you have a chance to go after people. Some people that may not support you, they would take the opportunity to do so. So I ask all of you MAGA buffoons that very simple question. If you agree with Trump and you hear Elon Musk and Caroline Leavitt and they use the term fraud, fraud is a crime. Where are the convictions? Where are the charges? Where are the names? Brian Rodriguez, thank you for your donation. Brian says, did you watch Enrique Tarrio heckling Michael Fanone? Yes, I did, Brian. And I couldn't play the audio for you because there were just too many expletives and too many swears. And for those of you that don't know what Brian is talking about, Tarrio, the leader of the Proud Boys, who was, I believe, convicted for seditious conspiracy, he was pardoned with many others. And he started stalking Fanone, who, by the way, is a hero, the former Capitol police officer who received a traumatic brain injury because of the events that took place on January 6th. And Tarrio was, in a way, stalking Fanone, swearing at him, yelling at him, trying to intimidate him. And Fanone kind of turned around at one point in this video and said, "You're a traitor to the country." I completely agree with Fanone. Tarrio is a traitor to the country. And by the way, Tarrio was just arrested the other day. I'm going to try to get Tarrio on the show, but that was just a despicable display and quite frankly, not surprising. But I got to tell you something. I want to start with something positive on a Monday, besides the Philadelphia Eagles, which I think should be a positive story to all of us. There's something going on in this country. I feel it. There are Republicans that are speaking in front of people across the country, and people are upset. People are angry. Now, some of those people did vote for Donald Trump, and now they're learning the hard way that you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. They're upset. They're upset that maybe they lost their job or somebody in their family lost their job. They're upset that maybe members of their family that are nonviolent criminals have been deported. There's a lot of people that were ignorant to facts and believed the lies of Donald Trump, and now they're starting to get a little bit upset. Now, we played you some of the audio for some of those meetings that took place last week. There were more that took place over the weekend. Representative Mark Alford, a Republican out of Missouri, was answering a constituent's question about guns. I want you to listen. It's a little bit hard to hear, but the question from one of his constituents was about guns, gun control, and all the gun violence that we're facing in this country. And Representative Alford just got destroyed by the crowd. Listen to his pathetic answer and listen to the way how the crowd reacts to it.
But there are still 17 men.
Well, I think we need to provide more. We've got. I am willing to invest more money in mental health care. We have got. And everywhere I go, I think to several hospitals on the side for located. We have got to invest more money in healthcare. I've said it's on my website. I've said it on the campaign trail. I don't think we need more gun control in America. We need more safety. Help people with mental health. That's going to go a long way. All right.
So first of all, what an imbecile. What a typical Republican coward and a buffoon. Typical Republican. We need to do more with mental health. Let's dissect some of the things he said there. First of all, every time Republicans have an opportunity and the Democrats put a bill forward to put more money into mental health, Republicans seem to, for lack of a better term, shoot it down. So he's a liar right there, number one. It's very convenient that they say, well, we need to do more about mental health when the Republicans don't put money into mental health. That's number one. Number two, what an idiotic statement. We don't need more gun laws. We need to do more about mental health. Okay. Someone in the crowd says, well, what's your plan then? And then he moves on to the next thing. Doesn't want to talk about it. You know why? Because just like the idiot in chief, Donald Trump, these MAGA Republicans don't have a plan for anything. Nothing except banning books and claiming that Elon Musk is saving us all money with no proof to back that up. So he was booed, rightfully so. He's an idiot. We have more guns in this country than almost any other country in the world. We have more gun violence in this country than almost any other country in the world. But we're led to believe by this idiot, Mark Alford, who I'm sure have received plenty of donations from the NRA because they all have blood on their hands. We're led to believe that we don't need more gun control, that an 18-year-old, it's totally fine for an 18-year-old to hold AR-15s and buy thousands of rounds of ammunition. We just need to do a better job with mental health, even though these Republican buffoons never do anything when it comes to mental health. That's all they say. We need to do more with mental health. But when we actually have more government programs that Democrats propose, Republicans shoot it down every time, and then they wear their AR-15s in the halls of Congress. I'm sure Mark Alford is one of those idiots. Idiots. But there are Republicans and Democrats that are going to these events throughout the country that are angry. They are fed up. Some of them have buyer's remorse. We need to bring them in. Yes, you made a terrible mistake. You shouldn't have voted for Donald Trump. But come on our side now. Some of them are losing their jobs. And like I say all the time, until it happens to them, there are Republicans that are now speaking out. MAGA Republicans, those who have voted for Donald Trump, that have lost their jobs. They voted for Donald Trump. You get what you pay for, as they say, right, ladies and gentlemen? And even Ron DeSantis today is trashing some Republicans. Yes, that's right. The white boot lover himself was, in a way, criticizing Byron Donalds. And he was trashing Donald Trump's endorsement of Byron Donalds for Florida governor in 2026, and he was also trashing House Republicans. Having to listen to what Ron DeSantis had to say about Byron Donalds.
Plan to endorse the congressman, and if not, who are you looking at?
You know, my view is Donald Trump just got into office. I want these congressmen focused on enacting his agenda. They haven't done very much yet. They're not putting his executive orders into place. We'll see what they do on the spending. But we have such a narrow majority that to be trying to campaign other places and missing these votes, I think is not something that's advisable at all. And so the reality is, you know, we've achieved victories in Florida. We need to start achieving those victories up there. So I think people look at it and say, you know, you got a guy like Byron, he just hasn't been a part of any of the victories that we've had here over the left over these last years. He's just not been a part of it. He's been in other states campaigning, doing that, and that's fine. But okay, well then deliver results up there. You know, that's what I want to see. I want to see them delivering results for the people of Florida. We deliver it here all the time for the people of Florida, and that's what we need to be doing. And so, you know, I've said I'm going to be, you know, raising money. We're going to be looking to have somebody that's going to be able to continue and build off the success that we've had here in Florida.
So, first of all, we could argue the success that Ron DeSantis claims that he's had in Florida. That's another conversation. But just the fact that Ron DeSantis is criticizing Byron Donalds, the endorsement, and this, we're so early in this, right? We're only 1 month into Donald Trump's administration. We're only 1 month into this thing, and already Ron DeSantis, who we know DeSantis and Trump don't see eye to eye on a lot of things and they don't get along, but already he's trashing Trump's endorsement. I find that to be very, very interesting. So if you notice today, Donald Trump held a press conference with the French president, Emmanuel Macron. He visited the White House to talk about a number of different issues, including Ukraine. And I think this is a very mesmerizing moment. And it's a very interesting moment because Donald Trump is talking about the money that Europe is loaning money to the Ukraine. And Macron literally has to stop him and put his hand on his leg, which I'm sure no man or woman really wants to do these days, and corrects him on the statement that he made. This is a very interesting moment. You have two leaders. Again, I use that leader loosely when talking about Donald Trump. And Macron literally has to correct him in front of the media. Have a listen to this moment.
They wasn't want to aggress.
Again, just so you understand, Europe is loaning the money to Ukraine. They get their money back.
No, in fact, to be frank, we paid 60% of the total efforts, and it was through, like the US, loans, guarantee, grants, and we provided real money. To be clear, we have 230 billion frozen assets in Europe, Russian assets, but it is not as a collateral of a loan because this is not our belonging. So they are frozen. If at the end of the day, in the negotiation we will have with Russia, they're ready to give it to us, super. It will be loan at the end of the day, and Russia would have paid for that.
If you believe that, it's okay with me.
Mr. President,
If they get their money back, we don't, and now we do. But, you know, that's
We will
only
fight
fair.
both.
Mr. President,
If you believe that, it's okay with me. So basically, he's basically saying Macron is the sucker if you believe it. And Macron had to correct him right in the middle of the press conference, which is an unbelievable moment, but also not surprising. So this is the point in the press conference, which I think a member of the media, kudos to them, asked Donald Trump a very important question. It's something that I've said on this show ever since he called Zelensky a dictator. Why have you not used the same words on Vladimir Putin? Listen to the question and listen to the scared Putin puppet in Donald Trump because he doesn't answer the question.
Customer, I will tell you that. You remember, that wasn't exactly what we agreed
Mr.
to.
President, to call Zelensky a dictator, would you use the same words regarding Putin?
I don't use those words lightly. I think that we're going to see how it all works out. Let's see what happens. I think we have a chance of a really good settlement between various countries. And, you know, you're talking about Europe and you're talking about Ukraine as part of that whole situation. The other side has a lot of support also. So let's see how it all works out.
Well, so there you go. There's Donald Trump not answering the direct question. The question wasn't do you use those words lightly? That wasn't the question. If you notice, the question was, do you say the same thing about, or will you say the same thing in regards to Vladimir Putin? That was the question, wasn't it? That was the question. And if you notice, Donald Trump didn't answer it. He stays away from anything negative involving Vladimir Putin. I still to this day don't understand why. Do you? I mean, I just don't get it. And it's getting to a point now where it's very troubling. It's troubling to the people of Ukraine. It should be troubling to the world that Vladimir Putin, for whatever reason, bends the knee to Putin. And he's been doing this for quite some time. That was a very direct question, and I think a very good one and a fair one. You've called Zelensky a dictator. Will you call Putin the same thing? And he deflects. He won't answer. So this is not going to change anytime soon. And it's very frustrating. And I don't know why he does this other than the fact that he looks up to evil, murderous dictators. I can't really understand why. But the situation in Ukraine right now isn't any better. In fact, I think you can make the argument that it's worse now than it was a month ago. And the situation with Hamas and the war in the Middle East is certainly not in a better spot now than it was a month ago. What the hell has Donald Trump accomplished? I know a lot of MAGA morons out there will say, oh, deportations. Well, a lot of people didn't sign up for deporting undocumented immigrants, many of whom are nonviolent criminals that pay their taxes and have families here. A lot of people didn't sign up for that. So, yeah, if you're a racist and a bigot, you love to see minorities suffer. I understand that. It's disgusting, but I understand that. And Donald Trump, again, refuses to call Vladimir Putin for exactly what he is, which is an evil, murderous dictator, which is exactly the words that Joe Biden used. The war is not over in 24 hours, is it, ladies and gentlemen? Remember when he said your egg prices were going to go down? He was going to lower the cost of inflation. Inflation has gone up. Gas prices have gone up throughout the country. The war in the Ukraine is still going on. Oh, yeah, he did pardon a bunch of January 6th insurrectionists, some of whom were violent criminals. He did do that. Kudos to him for that, right? And this is another question from another reporter. Again, French President Emmanuel Macron is sitting right next to him when all this is going on. Already had to correct him once. And this is a point where a reporter asked if he can explain the rationale having U.S. vote against the UN resolutions that Ukraine proposed. And this is once again Trump not even understanding the question, having no idea what he's talking about. Have a listen to this.
Can you explain the rationale, sir, in the U.S.?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Can you explain the rationale in having the U.S. vote against the UN resolutions that Ukraine proposed and also the U.S. proposed?
I would rather not explain it now, but it's sort of self-evident, I think.
Sort of self-evident, I think. Can somebody please explain to me what the hell that means? He didn't know how to answer the question. He didn't know. He didn't understand. He can't answer many questions. It's a word salad, and all these morons that claimed, oh, Kamala Harris can't answer questions. It's a word salad. Did you listen to how he answered that question? He knows nothing. He doesn't even know the executive orders that he signed until it's given to him on the table for him to sign it. What an embarrassment. Embarrassing the country on a national stage again. It's really embarrassing. And Macron had to correct him a few times in this press conference, basically calling Macron a sucker. Well, if you want to believe that, you can believe it. And won't answer the question. You called Zelensky a dictator. What would you call Putin the same thing? He won't directly answer that question as well. He is embarrassing this country on a daily basis, on a national level. And this is another perfect example of what is going on. All right, so here's what we're going to do. I do want to take some phone calls when we come back. And the number to call is 702-221-7283. Also, when we come back, another plane incident. That's right, another situation where people on a plane had to go out on a wing and had to exit through emergency exits on a plane. What the hell is going on? It seems like every single day there's an emergency when it involves a plane. We are going to also go to the super chat when we come back, and your questions or comments will be heard. My question to the people that are going to be calling into this show are very simple. MAGA, You're so happy about Doge and how you claim Elon Musk is going to be saving us money. If the claim is all this fraud going on in the country, where is the evidence of people that are committing crimes? Have they sent it to prosecutors? Local law enforcement? Has anybody been charged with a crime? Because fraud, last I checked, is a crime in the United States of America. Where are the charges? Why are they not making it public? That is my question to you. Along with, what did you make of Donald Trump sitting there with the French president and the French president having to correct him? What do you make of him once again not calling out Vladimir Putin? I'm asking you those questions as well. And when we come back, another plane incident this morning. What is going on with our FAA? What is going on with planes falling out of the sky? We'll get to that when we come back as well. Also, please check out my website, pushingthelimits.live. At pushingthelimits.live, if you enjoy what we do here, we sell merchandise up there, shirts, hats, beanies, you name it, we sell it. We also ask if you can make a donation monthly, $5, $10, $20 a month, whatever you can afford, we greatly appreciate. We're an independently run radio show, and we appreciate your support. You can also support us in the super chat. Check out the website, pushingthelimits.live. All right, your phone calls from around the country and around the world when we come back at 702-221-7283. You're listening to Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP.
Hey, everybody, are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premium Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super. Hero, that is. Because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
Who would have thought there'd be so many kids playing ice hockey in the desert? Jake Helps Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, founded by Gina Yusufzai 8 years ago, made it possible for families who can't afford the equipment and food. Donate today at www.hockeyforkids.org and help us continue making a difference. Join us in supporting Jake Helps Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, where every kid gets a shot at the starting line. Just a reminder, our website is www.hockeyforkids.org.
Have you ever dreamed of having your own radio show or a podcast, but just didn't think it was possible? Well, dreams can come true. Radio U. Radio U is a 5-day course that'll teach you how to acquire your dream show. We'll teach you how to host, how to write commercial, how to interview, how to market, how to write a contract, and most importantly, how to monetize your dream radio show. You'll learn from some of the best in the business with over 75 years in broadcast experience. You'll learn from people like me. And the best part? Every single student will be live on the radio as part of the class. Plus, one student from each class will get their very own radio show. You'll be live on the air right here in Las Vegas. Radio U. The 5-day course is being offered at $699. For more information, give Radio U a call. 702-763-5024. That's 702-763-5024. Or check them out at RadioYOU101.com.
It's time to wake up and win the weekend. You're listening to the boss of the big ball. JP the Cat. Giving you that grease. Saturday and Sunday from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Pacific time for the live action on Vegas Scoreboard Express on KSHP 107.1 FM and AM 1400. Dive into the game day with my in-depth analysis, expert predictions, and winning plays from the sharpest minds in sports betting. It's more than just placing bets. It's about securing wins. Head over to jptheticket.com and be sure to tune in to KSHP this weekend from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Pacific time to ride the winning wave with VSX. Tune in and get your money back from the sport book. All money, all sports, no bull. Miss the live show? Subscribe to Vegas Scoreboard Express on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, and wherever you enjoy your favorite podcast and radio listening.
Clear Sky Resorts invites you to experience the future of luxury glamping at their newest resort, opening August 1st, 2024 near Bryce Canyon. Guests at the first and only glass-domed stargazing resort in the U.S. will be immersed in the stunning scenery of the resort's private 80-acre canyon, both indoors and out. And nights in your Sky Dome will be like sleeping in an aquarium of stars. Located in Cannonville, Utah, on scenic Byway 12, voted one of the most scenic roads in America, the resort will feature lots of fun on-resort activities, as well as one of the world's largest glass-domed restaurants. To book your reservation, please call 1-888-704-4445 or visit clearskyresorts.com.
All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Monday. Thank you so much for joining us. A lot going on in the world. A lot going on from a political standpoint, from a news standpoint. We appreciate you being a part of the program. In the first segment, we talked a little bit about Donald Trump's press conference with the French President Emmanuel Macron today, and Macron had to correct him multiple times. And Donald Trump wouldn't answer direct questions about Vladimir Putin, which I do find extremely troubling. We did talk about that. But before we get to the phone calls and before we get to your take on the press conference today and your take on Ron DeSantis crapping on Byron Donalds, and, there also are all over the country Republicans speaking to their constituents, and it seems like there's a lot of people that are very angry. I do want to play you this audio to start. And we've had plane incidents over the last several weeks. It seems like almost on a daily basis. I don't know what's going on because for the most part, I've always felt like flying was very safe. But it seems like we've had more incidents here in the last month than we've had in 15 years, and I don't know what's going on. But I want to play for you how Fox News handled this earlier today. Another plane incident where passengers had to be taken off the plane in an emergency situation when there was smoke everywhere. Have a listen to this, and this is how Fox News handled it.
Just in out of Hartsfield Airport in Atlanta, a brand new video showing a smoky cabin of a Delta flight. Passengers on a Delta flight from Atlanta to South Carolina were forced to evacuate and travel down slides to get out of the plane after the haze or smoke had been seen filling the inside of that plane. This is Hartsfield Jackson Atlanta International Airport earlier today, approximately 9 a.m. local time there. Delta Airlines flight 876. It did return safely, but the crews began reporting possible smoke in the flight deck. Obviously caused a lot of confusion and a scare for those on board. They have safely evacuated. But John, we report this in a string of airplane and airline incidents.
Yeah, yet another one. People could be forgiven for thinking what's going on these days, but it's very, very random. And again, air travel is the safest way to get around.
Wow, those are some amazing images. People grabbing their suitcases in some cases, and
the tail cone coming out. I think that looks like an MD-88. Looks like the tail cone came off of that, so they could slide down the back.
So some came down, and there's some waiting on the wings.
Crazy times. Ha, 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 ha. Hey, listen, folks, I'm sure it's just a coincidence. I'm sure it has nothing to do with the fact that Donald Trump gutted the FAA and 400 people were let go, and including some people that have very important positions. I'm sure that has nothing to do with it. I'm sure it has nothing to do with the fact that leadership, including the guy that was running the FAA, stepped aside. I'm sure it has nothing to do with any of that stuff. We are led to believe that this is just some sort of coincidence. I think not. And while they continue to blame it on DEI hires and Pete Buttigieg and Joe Biden and Barack Obama, something that we will not see the next 4 years is when something happens that is bad for the country or bad for people in general. Donald Trump and members of his administration will never take any responsibility for it. He never has for anything in his life, and he never will. He will put the blame on others. This is exactly what this man will do, time and time again. But let me be very clear on this. This is not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence that there are so many incidents involving planes over the course of the last month. It's not a coincidence that gas prices are up throughout the country. It's not a coincidence that your eggs are so expensive and inflation has gone up. It's not a coincidence that there are people in this country that already have buyer's remorse for voting for Donald Trump. That is not a coincidence either. And it is not a coincidence that you have the richest man in the world calling the shots. It is not a coincidence that Donald Trump is on the golf course 3 days a week. It is not a coincidence that he is spending half of his time on vacation in the first month. It's not a coincidence that we've seen all this wasteful spending. $20 million at the Super Bowl, $5 million at Daytona 500. That is not a coincidence either. And it is not a coincidence that he lied to all of you. It is not a coincidence that he promised that there would be tax cuts for middle America. And he promised that there would be no tax on tips. Interesting, because last week when he put his tax proposal out there, nothing on no tax on tips. But that is not a coincidence, because just like in 2016, when he said he was going to hire a special prosecutor to go after Hillary Clinton, we all know that that didn't happen. We all know that. And we also know, ladies and gentlemen, that he also made promises to the American people to lower inflation. We all know that he made those promises as well to the American people, and that has not happened. The opposite has happened. He also promised to end the war within 24 hours. How's that working out? So kudos to the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles for not going to the White House. I would have done the exact same thing. Let's take some phone calls. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. Let's go to Dale, who's calling in out of Texas. Hello, Dale.
Hey, man, what's up?
What's up, Dale?
You just almost covered things I wanted to tell you and say, you know. But I had one real question, a real good question, I think.
Okay.
So how about this commercial that Orange SOB just put out there thanking him for shutting the border down? $250,000 commercial. I'd like to know how much that old gal that's supposed to be the intelligence officer or whatever, how much she got for doing that commercial.
I would imagine probably a lot of money. I would imagine not cheap, and she probably asked for a lot, and she probably got a lot. That is the number one thing that MAGA Republicans and Trump loyalists are talking about. When I say, what has he accomplished in the first month? They love the deportations, but here's the difference between a Joe Biden deportation or Barack Obama deportation, or quite frankly, even a George W. Bush deportation. They didn't relish in it. They didn't enjoy it. They didn't have Dr. Phil with a microphone there. They weren't gloating and bragging about it, right? They weren't doing that because I'd like to think that they had compassion, unlike Donald Trump. And they're gloating in this, and families are being torn apart. And if your response is, well, you got to come in here illegally, you got to respect our laws, then ask them why they voted for a 34-count felon. And that'll be the end of that conversation. Thank you, James, for your contribution on YouTube, on the Super Chat. James says we need more people like Governor Pritzker and the governor of Maine to stand up against MAGA. James, I completely agree with you on that, 150%. Hyperspace, thank you for your donation as well. Says, hey, Brian, remember how ICE was going to arrest people in Aurora, Colorado? The funniest part is that they only made one arrest. Yeah, it's funny, and it's also sad at the same time, and I completely 100% agree with you on that one as well. All right, 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you would like to be a part of the conversation. Let's go to Maureen, who's calling from Virginia. Maureen is next.
Hello?
Yes, hi, Maureen. Go right ahead.
Oh, hi, Brian. I always get nervous when I call because I want to get my message out. First, I want to say thank you so much for your show and the community you created.
Thank you.
It gives a lot of people hope and a voice. Thanks for having Jasmine Crocker and David Packman on.
Sure.
Today in my community, we have a Republican that won't have a town hall. So on Facebook, they had having, come down today, this morning. So I went down this morning. It was from 12 to 1 outside his office because we said, if he won't come to us, we're going to him. And I expected, I live in a very small town, it'd be maybe 10 people. There were over 400 people there. It was fabulous.
Wow.
Wonderful sight. Everyone out in the streets, people going by honking.
Yeah.
We're going to be there next week as well. We're going to keep on going.
Good.
To us.
Well, I'm happy to hear
Also,
that. I just want to say I'm happy to hear that, Maureen. And And, you know, if these things are going on throughout the country, I'm going to be the first one to talk about it. I played you Mark Alford, that Republican moron out of Missouri, and he was getting booed with his answer to, weapons and the violence that's taking place throughout the country, and his response to it was absolutely pathetic. So I'm going to keep playing this stuff. There's a lot of people throughout the country that are very, very upset. We're only a month into Donald Trump's administration. There's a lot of people that have buyer's remorse, and it's not going to get any better.
Okay, there's one more thing I want to mention. Several weeks ago, I saw John Schwartz, who's from Queens, New York, like I am, and he started the People's Union USA. It's bipartisan because there were people down there today that were Republicans as well, because we know fascism is coming to America, right?
Yep.
So the People's Union USA, if you could have them on for an interview, it would be wonderful.
Sure, shoot me an email. Shoot me an email, and I'll be glad to entertain that. And I appreciate all my listeners and their suggestions. And I had a lot of people asking me, you need to get David Pakman on the show. I delivered there. People asked me get Jasmine Crockett on. I did that as well. So I'm always going to listen to you guys, and I appreciate your time. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Gary calling from Las Vegas. Hello, Gary.
I'm shocked I got through so fast. I think it's Monday, and what do you call it? I think you're losing the war and losing the ratings. Like maybe in a day or two, you get more calls. Usually, the signal is busy.
Okay, so Gary,
busy.
as far as losing the ratings go, I'm gaining about 1,000 followers on YouTube, subscribers every single day. We have about 200,000 people that listen to this show every day. We get an incredible amount of phone calls every single day. So I would disagree with you on that assessment, Gary, that somehow my numbers are going down. So is there anything of substance that you would like to talk about today, please?
I stand corrected. I hope they all hear me. First of all, I think it's a miracle that all these airplanes, there's so many of them, more and more of them, flying all over the damn place, that we didn't have so many incidences until recently.
Why do you think, Gary, we have so many incidents that have taken place over the course of the last month?
I guess it's just what do you call it? Law of averages. It has nothing to do with Trump.
So you don't think it has? So you don't think it has anything to do with any of the layoffs? You don't think it has anything to do with some people that are working two jobs? You don't think it has anything to do with people in very important positions that have been let go? And you don't think it has anything to do with the rhetoric either? You don't think? You think it's just? So I guess my question is, you think it's just a coincidence?
Well, you might be onto something, sort of. There might be down in morale, and people are, acting up and stuff, not paying attention to their job like they should be. Maybe.
I think morale is down, Gary. I think you're onto something. I agree with you. And when you're threatening the livelihood and jobs of so many good, hardworking Americans that are just doing their job, the morale is going to be down, and maybe the focus will be down a little bit. And I'm not saying I'm saying Donald Trump and Duffy are responsible for every single plane incident, but I am saying I'm not buying that it's just some sort of coincidence, because I don't think it is. That would be like saying January 6th was just a coincidence. No, it happened cause and effect because Donald Trump lied about the 2020 election and said it was stolen. Then we had something called January 6th. And I think the rhetoric, the layoffs, and the attacks, it is interesting. Gary, do you remember that really bad train derailment where they were blaming Pete Buttigieg and Joe Biden for that train derailment? And why isn't he down there? It is interesting because when you have these catastrophes and these crashes, they don't blame Donald Trump. But when anything happened under the Joe Biden administration, they were the first to blame Pete Buttigieg and Joe Biden. I do find that interesting, Gary.
Well, politics is a nasty thing. But let me say something to some of your 200,000 listeners. What I'm anxious about a couple of things. First, when are we going to take care of the term limits that Republicans have been talking about for years?
Okay, but hold on.
To do something.
Okay, so Gary, let's talk about that. So first of all, I agree with you. I think there should be term limits. When have you said to yourself, Republicans are actually going to do what they say they are going to do? It starts with the president, who's hijacked the Republican Party all the way down. Example, he said he was going to hire a special prosecutor to go after Hillary Clinton. He never did. He said that he was going to build a wall and Mexico is going to pay for it. He never did. This time around, he campaigned on inflation. Inflation is up. He campaigned on the fact that he was going to end the war in Ukraine in 24 hours. How's that working out? Is there peace in the Middle East? So my question to you is, Why would you believe the Republicans? Why would you believe them when they say they're going to do something? You know what they're doing? They care more about Donald Trump on Mount Rushmore. They care more about banning books. They care more about attacking drag queens. These are not serious people. These are not serious lawmakers. They are noisemakers, Gary. What will it take for you finally to realize that? What is Donald Trump's replacement plan for Obamacare? He's had 9 years to come up with a replacement plan.
Well, let me ask you something. I can't answer all of those questions because they're politicians.
Answer one. No, come on. Don't compare their politicians and be general. Democrats say they're going to do something. They put bills together that try to solve problems. It could be talking about, weapons and violence when it comes to that. It could be talking about health care. It could be talking about even the border, the bipartisan border bill. Don't compare, in 2025, Gary, with all due respect, don't compare Republicans to Democrats. Many of the Republicans that are in office today are not serious lawmakers. They're noisemakers. I'm sorry, they just are. I'm not saying Democrats are perfect, but they actually have put forth bills like, listen, the bipartisan infrastructure bill, the CHIPS and Science Act, a bill helping to give medical benefits to those that have served this country, the bill that Joe Biden put forth with Jon Stewart, the most bipartisan gun control bills that have been put forward and signed into law in decades. What the hell has Donald Trump done?
Well, he's trying to make the country better. I do believe that.
And how is he doing that? What is he doing to make the country better?
You're dominating this whole conversation.
I'm asking you a question.
I'm sorry, I didn't contribute any money, but can I just say one thing? And then
I don't care whether you contribute money or not. Answer my question. You just said that he's making America better. What is he doing? Tell me.
All right, this is not what I was going to say, but I'll tell you this. You started to show off that he's afraid of Putin. He's kissing his butt,
yeah, he is,
and everything.
Yeah, he is.
But yeah, Putin has all those nuclear weapons, and he can shoot satellites out of the sky. He could be an old madman and go crazy someday. And Zelensky doesn't have that.
First of all, hold on. Let me respond to what you just said.
Maybe he's trying to save
Gary,
the world and save the country.
Gary, with all due respect, just because somebody has nuclear weapons doesn't mean that we side with him and give him concessions over our allies and call Zelensky a dictator. That is ridiculous. Kim Jong-un has weapons as well. It doesn't mean that we bow down to evil, murderous dictators. And that is who Vladimir Putin is. And just because you might have nuclear capabilities doesn't mean that we should be okay with them invading our allies. That is a ridiculous excuse. Hundreds of thousands of people have lost their lives. And for you to be okay with that, I'm shocked.
I'm not okay with it, but Putin won't be alive forever. He will go sooner or later.
What does that have to?
Time.
What does that
Maybe
have to
Trump
do with
is
it?
Buying time to save
What
the
do you
country
mean?
and the world.
He's buying time. He said he was going to end the war in 24 hours. He campaigned on that, and people like you voted.
Politician, here we go again.
Stop it. Give me an example of a Joe Biden lie that's similar to Donald Trump saying he was going to end the war in 24 hours. Go. You have 4 years.
I can't be specific.
Then don't make generalizations. No, because you make generalizations, and you're saying the Democrats do the same stuff. Name me one Democrat, a lie like they're going to end the war in 24 hours. Give me one. Give me just one example, Gary.
Well, how about Obamacare? It's going to, what do you call it? You could pick any doctor. You can keep your doctor, and it's going to save money.
When Barack Obama made that
on short notice, that's the best I got right now.
Okay, so you can't give me any real examples, but you want to compare Donald Trump and Republicans and the lies and the lack of actual lawmaking to the Democratic Party. Gary, I do appreciate your phone call, but I think you struggled there, my friend, and I appreciate you calling in. Thank you, JD, for your contribution. JD says, filling all posts with former Fox News host wasn't on my bingo card. That is true, Gary. That is actually very funny. We appreciate your contribution. Number to call, 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to join the conversation. We're in the super chat. We also want to thank Couch for his donation. Is he draining the swamp too fast? So, Couch, your definition of draining the swamp. Let's go with that for a moment. Thank you for your donation, Couch. Draining the swamp? So you think draining the swamp was hiring guys like Pete Hegseth, Kash Patel, Tulsi Gabbard, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., having guys like Stephen Miller around you, and you think that's draining the swamp? The swamp can't be drained when you hire people like that, Couch, with all due respect. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Pat. Pat is calling out of Maryland. What's up, Pat?
Hey, Brian, thank you for what you're doing. You keep my head level.
Thank you. Thank you.
I am so happy that the Philadelphia Eagles are not going to the White House.
Amen. I'm with you.
I
Amen.
would not want to shake his hand. I would not want to shake his dirty hand.
You definitely don't want to shake Pete Hegseth's hand. He said he hasn't washed his hands in 10 years, but
exactly.
But I mean,
And one more thing.
Sure. I just wanted to say, in regards to your point, I became a Philadelphia Eagles fan overnight. I appreciated the fact that the Golden
I did too.
The Golden
I
State
did too.
Warriors. Listen, this isn't the first time. 11 professional sports teams. 11 did not go to the White House when Donald Trump was president the first time
And that's
around.
wonderful.
Yep.
That's wonderful. I
Yep.
love it.
Yep.
And my other point is this email that Musk was asking all the federal workers to they have to send him an email by 11:59 tonight. I saw on Facebook now he's canceled that and said that was just a ruse,
Yeah.
just a test.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. We're going to hear a lot of rumors over the course of the next 4 years, and many of it has come out of Donald Trump's mouth and Elon Musk's mouth and the Charlie Kirks of the world. We need to call out the
Right.
BS. We need to call out the BS when we see it, just like $50 million or $100 million in condoms sent to Gaza. They are always going to be debunked. We need to call it out, and at these press conferences, these journalists need to do their job and hold their feet to the fire. That's really all we can do at this point.
Exactly.
That's all we can
Right,
do.
just stressing people out. People trying to hold on to their jobs, their homes, their families, and everything, and he's stressing people out.
You know, you make a good point. And thank you for the call, my dear. You make a good point about stressing people out. Think about all the people today that are worried about losing their jobs. Think about what he's done to people in Canada and Mexico with these 25% tariffs. Think about that for a moment. And then, we had a 9/11 hero that was on the show last week. They're considering taking away from that 9/11 fund, and then they reversed the decision on Friday. Think about all the stress that those people are going through, the unwanted and unwarranted stress that all these people are going through. Lori decided to go on pushingthelimits.live, and she made a donation. Lori, thank you so much for your support. We certainly appreciate you and your contributions. Thank you so very, very much. You check it out at pushingthelimits.live, and you can make donations and buy merchandise on there. Also on the Super Chat on YouTube right now as we speak. Theodoro is next up, calling out of Las Vegas. Hello, Theodoro.
Yes, I really admire your show. I admire you.
Thank you.
And I'm really thankful to you for being the voice of the people. And I hope you continue what you're doing because you really are the voice of the people now.
Well, I appreciate you for saying that. That's very kind of you. I am certainly not the voice of MAGA Republicans. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I know. I don't mean the MAGA supporters, but
Yeah.
generally, the people like me, I'm just really thankful that somebody's do what you're doing.
Well, that means a lot to me, and I appreciate that. And you people like you will
Yeah,
always you always have a voice on this show, and and I appreciate you for saying that. Those are very kind words, sir. And I'd like to think that I do speak for a lot of people that maybe either don't say it out loud or don't have the platform to do so. But you'll always have a platform on this show. Make no mistake about it. Yes, I'd like to think that I do speak for a lot of people that are anti-MAGA, but I also give people that are MAGA an opportunity to call into this show as well. Thank you, though, for those words, sir. That really does mean a lot to me, and I appreciate it. Let's go to Roy. I think Roy is calling out of New York. What's up, Roy?
Hey, Brian. How are you today?
Hey, good.
Don't really know where to begin. There's so much to talk about. But all Trump cares about is his tax cut. I'm sure there is waste in government. There's no question about it. But they're not looking for waste. They're just looking to chop off people's jobs. That's all they care about. Yep. And they want to use that money to cover a large tax cut. They want to extend the tax cut from 2017, which, of course, benefits the rich and does nothing for the average person. That's what they want to extend. They also want to reduce the tax rate for large corporations from 21 to 15. The top 100 companies in this country, that tax savings would pay for the entire Department of Education for a year.
Can I ask you
really
something, Roy,
Sure.
if I may, because you're pretty up to speed on what's going on here. So we're like $7 trillion, right, in debt. And they keep talking about U.S. aid, right? U.S. aid is somewhere around the vicinity of $41 billion. And if, let's just say, you take all the money out of U.S. aid, it's not even 1% of the debt that we're in. Why is it that so many MAGA Republicans and Donald Trump fail to either grasp or understand that? I would say a lot of his supporters certainly don't. They keep talking about U.S. aid. It's literally not even 1% of the debt that we have fallen into.
Brian, it's peanuts, and that's why they love the uneducated, because they have no clue as to what is really happening. When Bill Clinton left office, there was actually a surplus. Over the last 30-some-odd years, both Democrats and Republicans have increased the deficit to the point where right now it's $36 trillion.
Do you know, Roy, that Donald Trump has,
years.
he has increased the deficit more than any other president? I mean,
Yes.
It's crazy.
During his administration, it increased by almost $8 trillion.
Correct.
And now they want to raise the ceiling. He wants to raise the ceiling another $4 trillion. You want to give an additional $4.5 trillion in tax cuts, and you're going to cut Medicaid, Pell Grants, food, SNAP, to all the poor and lower middle class in this country. If the election were held today, I do not believe he could win again, because even the stupid people got to realize what he's doing.
You know what, Roy?
Them.
Roy, I can understand why you would say something like that, but on the other hand, I can't believe all the people that voted for him. So I'm not going to put it past so many people who voted for Donald Trump who are extremely ill-informed, ignorant, and brainwashed. I mean, we could be sitting here 4 years from now and unemployment could be through the roof and our economy could be in the crapper and the war in Ukraine could still be going on. And I still believe a lot of these cultists would still vote for him because they're ignorant to facts and they're brainwashed and they're very difficult to have conversations with. Mr. Carter, thank you for your donation. We appreciate it on Pushing the Limits .live. We appreciate that. Very generous of you. Also, I want to thank Garnett. Garnett made a very generous donation on Pushing the Limits .live. We appreciate your support. Also in the YouTube Super Chat, by the way, if anybody wants their questions or comments heard. I do hear some people are a little shy and they don't want to call in, but you have the opportunity in the Super Chat to do so. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Ryan is calling from Vancouver, Canada. Ryan, thanks for calling in. What's on your mind today?
Hey, Brian, thanks very much for what you're doing. And just know that you've got a pretty dedicated audience up here, especially those of us on the left.
Thank you.
Yeah, just Mike, most of us up here are watching what's happening down there with some pretty, serious anxiety and looking at where does this end? Where does this go? And, the discussions happening, at least in most intellectual orbits up here, are, is the economy going to crash? Is the government going to collapse? Is it going to come to some sort of armed insurrection? What is on the other side of this? We look at history and all the different times that we've seen despots get into power, and it generally goes south at some point. What's on the other end of this? How are Americans just in general, grappling with what's on the other side of what you're going through right now?
Well, I think I can't speak for everybody, but I will say this. There are a lot of people in this country, sir, that are worried that members of their family are going to be deported. There's a lot of people in this country that have been working for the government, whatever position they're in, that are worried that they are going to lose their jobs if they haven't already. There's a lot of people in this country that maybe voted for Donald Trump that are saying, well, wait a second, I thought he was going to lower inflation. The opposite is, or the lowering of gas prices. He was going to help me with my small business. He was going to help the middleman. And some of those people, certainly not all of them, but some of those people are finally starting to understand that maybe I made a mistake with my vote. Now, we tried to warn them. I tried to warn them every single day on this show. We've never seen good people of Canada booing our Star-Spangled Banner before a hockey game. We've seen that multiple times now. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, and I kind of was actually, when I first saw that occurring, was a little taken aback, because I'm like, wow, I think that's probably the first time in recent memory that that's occurred. And the Canada and the United States are honestly probably the most prime example of the two best buds, the two best bros that could have existed up until now. I mean, we are, the world's longest undefended border. couple of $1 billion a day going back and forth across the border.
Right.
And to think that the two countries are not linked is silly. Right. And, what happens down there really, really affects us up here. And I think when especially we see some of our politicians starting to emulate your politicians, that has certainly started to get Canadians' backs up. And yeah, when our best bud, our neighbor, just out of nowhere decides to go, well, we're going to introduce 25% tariffs, and you're not doing enough for this, and all of it's BS. We know it's BS.
Right.
I mean, the ridiculousness of the fentanyl thing is so ridiculous.
Well,
I mean,
let's start. Let me just comment on that. Trudeau offered a fentanyl czar. Less than 1% of fentanyl in the United States of America is coming from Canada. So that's absurd. That's ridiculous. And, Trudeau offered $2.1 billion for border security. He offered that back in December. And Trump is taking a Daytona 500 victory lap on that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. Listen,
it's asinine.
It is asinine. That's the best way. Well, I'm glad there are good people like you out there in Canada that are on the right side of history. I appreciate you being a loyal listener of the show, sir. And you call back anytime, okay?
Absolutely.
Thank
cheers,
you, sir.
Man.
Cheers. Thank
Keep
you
it
so
up.
much. I appreciate that. Thank you. I will, as long as there's people like you out there supporting what I do. People like Ken, who just went on pushingthelimits.live and made a donation. Brian, he says, love the show, Brian. Keep up the great work. Ken, out of Las Vegas. Thank you, Ken, for your donation. We really, really appreciate you. That really means a lot. Thank you so much. Also, a purchase on the PTL website. Judy made a purchase. Thank you, Judy, for that. We appreciate you. All right, let's get back to the calls at 702-221-7283. Let's go to Steve. Steve is calling out of West Virginia. What's going on, Steve?
Oh, happy Monday.
Happy Monday, Steve. What's on your mind today?
Over the weekend, I saw on the news that some of the congressmen were having town halls.
Yes, and I played some of that. I played some of that in the first segment, Steve. I don't know if you heard it.
I know I missed the first part.
That's okay. I forgive you. Go ahead.
Sorry, but I've been calling my congresswoman every day, and I guess they're getting tired of me. But everybody should be calling their representatives every day and putting the heat on them.
Agree. So if I may, I just want to share with you something. And by the way, I'm glad you're doing that, and I commend you for doing that. So this absolute right-wing buffoon out of Missouri, his name is Mark Alford. So he was answering constituents' questions about gun control and some other things. And he was booed by the crowd because he gave your typical right-wing answer. We need to do more about mental fitness, but we don't want to put more laws out on the books, and every single time there's a bill put forward by the Democrats to allocate more money to help people that are mentally ill, guess what Republicans do? They shoot it down. So he was booed. There's an anger in this country, some of whom are Republicans, some of whom have already voted for Donald Trump. But, with some of these people, it's like until it happens to you, right? Until it happens to you. They get laid off or a member of their family gets laid off, and then all of a sudden they say to themselves, oh, geez, maybe we shouldn't have voted for this guy. I appreciate the call, my friend, and we're going to continue to play that. Terrence, thank you for your donation. Frank on the Super Chat, thanks, Brian. I was never a big fan of Ronald Reagan, but if you can please play Reagan's final speech about how important immigrants are to America. Well, you know what, Frank? We might do that this week, and we do appreciate your support of the program. Thank you so much, Frank, in the YouTube Super Chat. Let's go to Shelley. Shelley is also calling from West Virginia. What's going on, Shelley?
Hey, Brian. A few things. I'll shut up and I'll hang up, okay?
Okay.
Trump is afraid of Putin for some reason. We don't know. And I am so glad that Macron put him in his place and corrected him.
Yeah.
And what else was I going to say?
You were going to talk about, I think you were going to talk about what an attractive man Donald Trump is. I think that's what you were about.
No, I was going to say you're attractive.
Well, you know what? If I could get 4 fake hair transplants, fake teeth.
No,
teeth.
we like bald, honey.
All right, well, maybe I can wear a girdle like Trump and put on 8 layers of orange makeup. Then maybe I'll
No,
live up to his
please
standards.
don't do that, dear God.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
And, oh, God, you done made me lose it. I'm glad people
What's
are
that
raising
music?
their
What
voice.
are you listening to in the background? What is that
Oh
stuff?
shit! My alarm. Sorry.
Oh, all right, that's your
My
alarm.
alarm was going
Is
off.
that like
and
is that like some Kid Rock trailer trash banjo movie?
I have no idea what
is
it is. It was on the phone.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm glad that people are raising their voice against Trump to Congress people.
Yeah.
Okay. And about guns, you're absolutely right.
Yep.
They say, oh, it's mental health.
Yeah.
But they won't put any money into it.
Amen. And that's what I talk about on this show all the time. When you talk about that, when you talk about all the violence we have with weapons in this country, it seems to me that Republicans always pivot to mental health, but then when they have the opportunity to help people, when they have the opportunity to put money into mental health, they always vote no. Thank you for the call. Oak, thank you for your donation on the YouTube Super Chat. Oak says, love your show. Did you see the woman in Idaho yesterday at the town hall who was grabbed by unarmed cops? I did not see that. I'll be honest with you, but I will certainly look into that. I try to follow the news pretty closely, but I haven't heard of that one, Oak. I will look into it. Thank you for letting me know. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Wayne. Wayne is calling from Alabama. Wayne, what's going on?
First of all, I am in Alabama. Do not like Trump.
You're a rarity. You're a rarity, Wayne.
Believe me, on my stretch of road, I know it.
Can you describe to people what your stretch of road looks like? Your typical Alabama street. What does it look like when it comes to politics?
I live in the county. And basically, Trump flags flying every direction you can see.
Does that make you want to vomit? Like when you have to see that every day?
Yes.
God, it's so brutal.
I don't really have a question, more of a thought. I'm thinking that he is still so pissed off about the election that he clearly lost that he is going to burn his whole thing to the ground. Even his supporters are just collateral damage at this point. He doesn't care.
So I agree with you, and I'm picturing, Wayne, tell me if you agree or not. I'm picturing what your typical person in Alabama would look like on your street. And forgive me because I am generalizing here. I think you can cast a new Duck Dynasty episode. Am I right on that? They look like insurrectionists with their long beards and their Confederate flags and their Trump flags. I mean, that's what I'm picturing right now. Am I wrong in making that assumption?
You've been here. You've been here before. That's all I can say. You visited at one point or another.
I am so glad that there are people like you out there, and we just got to keep up the fight, and it can't be easy for you, and I understand that.
Well, like today at my job, my boss is a hardcore Trump supporter, and he was livid because he went to the grocery store and prices are going up. And I'm like, oh, well. You know, me and him debate and argue about this stuff. He usually loses these arguments, but anyway, he's pissed off about prices going up, not understanding that he is responsible for these prices.
Yeah. No, I
can't.
Buyer's remorse. Buyer's remorse.
No matter the facts, you can play clips of him literally saying things that he said. He didn't say that. And I'm like, at what point can we just all agree on what reality is? When we see it and hear it, it's there.
Absolutely.
You know,
I'm going to ask you a stupid question. Okay. This is something that nobody should have to see because have you ever seen like a Klan rally? Like, have you ever been driving around and you saw a bunch of people in white hoods in Alabama?
No, that I have not seen.
Okay, good. I took a deep breath.
Tennessee. I lived in Tennessee for a while and did see that.
Ugh. That's just
as a teenager.
I want to share a story with you right now on the air. Is that okay?
That's fine with me.
All right. So I was going to do this to start the show, but I'm going to do it with you now because I think it's appropriate. So I was on the golf course yesterday. I was on a very prestigious golf course. Some might call it a little snotty. And I'm on the golf course. And for anybody that knows golf, you're on the putting green taking a couple practice putts before you're out to play. So I'm having a conversation with some friends of mine, you know, and we're talking. The conversation went to Augusta National. Very prestigious golf course. And we talked about the first black person to ever become a member there was Condoleezza Rice. And of course, my friends were saying, and I was saying, that's a great thing. You know, thank God they finally allowed black people to play golf there, right? That's a good thing. And then this complete stranger, middle-aged white guy, looked like he lived in Alabama, okay? all due respect to people like you, but he looked like he lived in Alabama. He looks at
Yep.
me and he says, "Oh, I don't think black people should be members there." And I looked at him and I said, this conversation could go one of two ways. Either I just do what I do on the air and call him out for being a bigot, or I just sort of disagree with him and move on. And he said, well, I'm okay with black people playing on the golf course like Tiger Woods, but I think we should keep things in place. And I looked at him and I'm like, I wanted to say, should we keep slavery in place? And I was so angry. And I thought to myself, this is the kind of thing somebody will say to a complete stranger. I'm a complete stranger. I don't know this guy from a hole in the wall. Imagine the stuff he says to his friends on the golf course. And I thought, what a piece of human scum that there are still people in this country, and guaranteed that guy voted for Donald Trump. There are still people in this country that think because the color of your skin is different, that you shouldn't have the same privileges as somebody else. I was so disgusted by this man who decided to be a part of this conversation uninvited and share his racist, bigoted views. And I was so angry. Like I was so angry because I don't like keeping things inside. But what do you make of that? And I'm assuming there's probably a lot of people in Alabama that think the same way.
Oh, definitely. And, you know, I am one of the ones that will speak out. I've had one conversation at a store with a person because I have trouble holding my tongue. My wife constantly gets on to me, don't say nothing. But, you know, I heard the conversation of once these immigrants are gone. So my response is, yeah, Cletus, now you can become a CEO somewhere. With, you know, dropped out of high school. Yeah, I'm pretty sure now that the illegals gone, your life are going to be, it's just going to improve immediately.
Why do people think like that?
They have nothing to do with.
Why do they think like that?
Because they're stupid.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, but I just wanted to. Hey, listen, man. I appreciate you calling in. Please stay safe out there in Alabama. And
I appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I appreciate you taking the time to talk.
Of course, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. I want to thank Joseph for going on pushingthelimits.live and making a donation. Thank you, Joseph. We appreciate you very much for the phone call, or I should say for the donation. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Reginald, who's calling from North Carolina. What's up, Reginald? Reginald, go right ahead.
Yes, good afternoon. First-time caller. Been watching your show since last year.
Oh, well, thank you.
Navy veteran, and I appreciate all that you've been doing, Brian.
Thank you.
I'm with you with Trump and the MAGAs. They just don't know what they're doing up there. They're destroying our country, and I just can't wait for these 4 years to get over with. And just thank you, and just continue doing a good job.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. I wouldn't be able to do what I do if not for heroes like yourself. And I will always be very grateful to people like you who risked your life for this country. And we will always be indebted to people like you. Let me be very clear on something, Reginald. You're not a sucker. You're not a loser. And if you were captured, I respect you even more for having to go through that. And I will never, and I will always defend people like you. And I'm honored that you're a longtime listener of the show. I'm humbled and I'm honored that we have so many wonderful people, informed, educated people, and heroes that listen to this show every day. And I am here for you. So thank you for those very, very, very kind words, sir. I appreciate you and your service. Let's go to Kathy. Kathy is calling from Pennsylvania, home of my brother from another mother, Josh Shapiro. What's going on? What's going on, Kathy?
Hi, Brian. Good afternoon. I was thinking about, what people were saying about Trump and why he likes to bow down to Putin. And I remembered reading about the Mueller report. If you remember the big Mueller probe, it said that back in 2015, that him and his family were in the loop on discussions with Russians on a Moscow project.
Yeah.
It has always been his thing to build a hotel or a resort in Russia and to have Putin sit in one of the penthouse apartments or whatever in that facility. And I was thinking that could be the reason why he bows down to Putin. It's kind of a quid pro quo thing.
Sure.
They would help him with coming into the presidency, and has an award to have the hotel and resort that he wants so badly in Russia. And it is sad to say that I also believe that there are other people we know there are other people in our government that also are into Russia and back Russia as well.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it's going to take for our government to finally so-called drain the swamp of these people, these Russian apologists.
Yeah.
Now, I've been a liberal and I've been a Democrat since I voted. It's my first time in 18 years old, and I'm almost 63 now. And I have always thought of Republicans as being pro-America.
Not today.
Not
today.
Until this guy got into office and infested the office.
Let me tell you what they are. Let me tell you what they are, my dear. And by the way, it's good to hear from you, and I appreciate your call. Republicans today are not about America first. They're myself first. And they don't care if there's a dictator in office. All they care about is remaining in power, and all they care about is their own self-interest. This isn't about you. It's not about me. It's about themselves. That's all they care about. A guy like a Ted Cruz or a Gymnasium Jordan, these are Robert F. Kennedy Jr. These are people that only care about themselves and their job and their money. And that's all they care about. They don't care about their constituents. They prove it every day when they continue to defend a 34-count felon liable abuser. They prove it every day. So you're 100% right. Duke, thank you for your donation on the YouTube Super Chat. Duke says, Brian, there's a petition in Canada that's trying to revoke Elon Musk's Canadian citizenship. His mother's Canadian. We call him Leon Scum here. I can understand, Duke, why you would do that, and I'm with you and on board with that. I think, listen, they talk about anchor babies. Why not deport Donald Trump's son, Barron? He's an anchor baby. 702-221-7283. Let's go to the MAGA destroyer, Darlene, calling out of Oklahoma. What's up, Darlene?
Hi, Brian.
Hey.
Now, I have a few things to say. First of all, Gary, the only ratings going down is Trump's. So I want to get that out there first. But that's not why I called Brian. Okay. Brian, today is my birthday, and I want to take this time to honor you and Numchuck. And I have some wishes I want to put out to everybody. Okay. Anybody out there that likes me or hates me, please donate to Brian and Numchuck. And I would appreciate it so much. And if you can't donate to Brian and Numchuck, I want everybody out there, do something nice for somebody.
Well, that's nice of you.
Basically, somebody that you don't know.
Well, Darlene, first of all, let me say happy 21st birthday. Let me start by saying that.
Oh, yeah.
And I appreciate
64.
Well, happy birthday to you. And I hope you have a wonderful day today. Try not to think about Donnie. Have a nice day today. And don't get too stressed out or too frustrated. Enjoy our time here because we're not on this earth very long. Enjoy your birthday, spend it with your friends and family, and just know that we're going to be calling out Donald Trump every single day. Just know that.
Amen.
All right, Darlene, happy birthday to you, my dear, and I'm grateful that there are so many wonderful people like yourself that call into the show, and you're a big part of the show. Thank you, MJ. For your donation. Says happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, badass Darlene. Happy birthday to you. Yes, MJ, I certainly echo that sentiment. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Go to Oregon, I believe. We're going to Ron. Ron is calling from Oregon. Hey, Ron, what's going on?
Hey, Brian, first-time caller.
Thank you. Thanks for calling in. What's on your mind today?
Love your show.
Thank you.
Love the way you make conservatives your girlfriend. Man. You're brutal. Anyway, reason I'm calling in right now is I was wondering if you know anything about this. I guess a national day of we're supposed to not purchase stuff. It's coming up like this Friday.
It's not going to work. I mean, listen, there are some things that I say, okay, that might work. Come on, I just don't think this is going to work. There's going to be too many people out there that they might be anti-Trump, but they're not. The message isn't going to be set across to enough people. I don't know how you feel about this, my friend, but I just boycotting certain things, and I just don't see it going to work. Listen, people are always going to buy Teslas, right? Sheryl Crow, I love her. God bless her. I think she's great. I love Sheryl Crow. I had the opportunity to meet her years ago, a former teacher. She's a wonderful lady, so talented. And, you know, she
Yeah.
donated her Tesla to charity, and I think that's great. But most people, you know, can't afford to do that. So if you can afford to do it and you're in a good position, then go ahead and do it. But there's too many people in this country that are, you know, they're in their mode living paycheck to paycheck, and we have to take that into account, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I just wonder if you knew anything or
I
if
did.
what
I
it
did.
would benefit.
Yeah, I mean, listen. You know what we need to focus on, my friend? The midterms. We need to focus on making sure MAGA Republicans don't get in office anywhere. We need to make sure that Donald Trump is held to account. Even though the Supreme Court doesn't want him held to account, we as Americans will hold him to account. We need to call out the BS every single day. And I think if we can do that, it'll make their jobs more difficult, and that's what we want.
Yeah, amen, brother.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the call out of Oregon, my friend. Go Ducks, all right? Thanks for calling in. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Homer. Homer is calling out of St. Louis, Missouri. What's up, Homer? What's going on?
Hey, Brian, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Nice talking with you again. So as I was listening to the show, there were a couple of things that I wanted to chime in on. You know, like J.B. Pritzker's State of the State speech, in which he called out Donald Trump.
Yes.
As well as, you know, everything that's going on in the town halls. But as I was listening to, you know, the callers calling in and listening to the show, something occurred to me. Because ever since Donald Trump's first term, I've always felt like Vladimir Putin has something on him. Now, do I think Donald Trump is going to sell out his country just to, you know, build a hotel in Russia? You know, I wouldn't put it past him, but I think it's a little deeper than that. Like I say, I could be wrong, but here's what I want your perspective on. So when you think about everything that's said about Donald Trump and how he's this strong individual and wants to promote strength, and so, you know, all of these things, don't you think it would be more effective if Donald Trump actually put Putin in his place? Wouldn't it make him seem like he's a stronger person, or putting these actual dictators in their place? So it's the same. It's the same way.
He won't do it.
You know,
I think there's a couple reasons why, and you could tell me, okay, sir, whether you agree or disagree. First of all, I think he looks up to dictators. I think he admires dictators, and I know people that have gone to Mar-a-Lago on a number of different times, and they tell me you walk into a room and everybody has to clap every single time he walks into a room. He wants his feet kissed. That's exactly what he wants. And it's not going to change, in my opinion. He is who he is. That's number one. Number two, yes, I do think he has something on, I think Putin has something over him. I've said that before, and I'll say it again. I think Vladimir Putin has something on Donald Trump. It makes no sense to me why you would call Zelensky a dictator, but, you know, and be more, I guess, negative towards our own politicians in this own country than a guy like a Vladimir Putin who invaded Ukraine. That's my opinion. I don't know if you agree with that, but that's my opinion.
So yeah, I agree that he admires dictators. You know, so let me put it to you this way. So let's just say Mike Tyson or any boxer in his prime. Mike Tyson admired Muhammad Ali, or anybody that he'd admired. Do you think he would hold back? You know, if he got in the ring with Muhammad Ali?
Well, Muhammad Ali was a champion and a fighter and a hero. Donald Trump has never been in a physical altercation his entire life. He wakes up in the morning, he puts on his, you know, and look at what Muhammad Ali had to go through when it came to racism, right? You look at Donald Trump, he wakes up in the morning, he was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, puts on 8 layers of orange makeup when he wakes up in the morning, has yes people all around him his entire life. All he's done is burn his dad's money, and then he decided to become the president of the United States, and then continues to swindle, whether it be Bibles or trading cards, you name it. This is the way the guy's lived his entire life. He's a despicable human being. He doesn't know what it's like to have to struggle and live paycheck to paycheck. And unfortunately, there are so many dumb Americans in this country that these are the people that they vote for. They want to vote for a guy that doesn't know what it's like to struggle, yet they think that this is the guy that's going to save them, the people that are living paycheck to paycheck. And now you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. If you lost your job and you voted for Donald Trump, you deserve it.
Absolutely. I agree. You know, I think if you allow me a parting thought, I just think as deplorable as Donald Trump is, despicable, I think he's a traitor. You know, I think he has a golden opportunity, even with everything that he's done to this country and is trying to do to this country, to actually unite the country and still come out strong. Just put these people in their place. And then you can actually probably rally some people that's been against you. You could probably actually unite the country and still have your base and rally some people against you because they see you're standing up for the country, you know. And so, but that's my thoughts on it. It's kind of like beating up the biggest person in the cell block, you know, when you're in jail. You know, it's like I can still be admired. I can still be strong. You know, but that's my thought.
Well, Donald Trump would certainly be the most orange person in cell block. That's for sure. No question about that. Thank you for the call. Thank you to Henry who went on the super chat on YouTube. Thank you, Henry, who says, I did see the video of the Utah town hall. A redhead was accused of 2 unknown men who didn't ID themselves but wore all black. So much for women's rights in Utah. It's on YouTube. Dark Brandon. I will check that one out, Henry, and I appreciate your generosity. Thank you so much. You could also go on my website, pushingthelimits.live, and make donations there, and also buy PTL gear, pushingthelimits.live. Let's go to Tennessee, shall we? Tennessee was already brought up in this conversation. Let's go to Jeff. He's calling out of Tennessee. What's up, Jeff?
Hey, Brian. Good afternoon. How are you, sir?
Good. What's on your mind today?
Well, I'm a blue dot in a sea of red up here. I've been calling my lovely senator, Miss Marsha Blackburn.
Oh, no.
On a daily basis. Yeah, I know. On a daily basis for about a week now. But no response. But that's beside the point. These town halls, I just found out today by calling Miss Diana Harshbarger. She's my Senate representative. Terrible. Not my Senate, but the House of Representatives. And anyway, she's having a town hall this Friday.
Yep.
At 11 o'clock, if you don't mind me saying. Can I say that?
Sure.
It's at a place called the Ron Ramsey Agricultural Center.
Are you going to be there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so I want you, can you ask a question for me?
I would love to.
I want you to ask Blackburn, is this what you supported? Did you support him?
Sorry.
Is this what you supported? DEI hires after a plane crash. Is this what you supported? You know, going after our most vulnerable people in society. Is this what you wanted? Nonviolent criminals that are undocumented being deported. Is this what you wanted? Is this what you voted for? And how do you look at your kids when they ask you, why did you support a 34-count convicted felon, liable abuser? That's what I would ask you to ask her and see what her response would be.
Yes, I may have misspoke. It's not. I'm going to go to a town hall by my House representative, and her name is Diana Harshbarger.
Oh, okay.
But she's every bit as bad. But
I got you.
I would definitely ask her that question. But
ask her
I
that.
did not
I
hear-
want you to record it, and we'll play it on the air if you may. And I appreciate
if you
it.
can
Please
do
give me
that.
I will. Please give me an update. Please record that for me. Darlene, you are such a sweetheart. Thank you so much. That was so nice of you, Darlene, making a donation on our YouTube super chat. We're almost at the goal of 20 donations. Brian and Numchuck, thank you for giving us a platform to speak. We love you, Darlene and John. We love you guys as well, Darlene. Thank you so much. It's so generous of you, and we appreciate you. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Mike. Mike is calling out of Texas. Hi, Mike. What's going on?
Hey, Brian. How you doing?
Hey, good.
Great show. Love it.
Thank you.
About the FAA, I found out the other day that these air traffic controllers are working 60 hours a week.
That's
no wonder their morale is low.
Crazy. 60 hours a week is about 20 hours too much, and our lives are in their hands, right? Listen, it's one thing when it comes under extenuating circumstances. Example, like the fires in California. There were some firefighters that were working 24 hours straight. I'm not saying that's a good thing, but that was an emergency. You shouldn't have a regular schedule of FAA employees working, as you said, 60 hours in a week. You're not going to have the same focus. I mean, you're going to get tired. That's natural.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but if you ask Donald Trump, it's DEI hires and Pete Buttigieg. That's who we blame.
Yeah. What else can you say about that?
Racist, bigotry, stupidity, not taking responsibility. I mean, there's a lot of things I could say about it. It's total crap. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm gonna do a little bit of research into that as well, and I appreciate you calling into the show and telling us about that. Thank you so much, sir. Number to call 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Also, the sponsor of this segment is Jackson's Bar and Grill, located at Flamingo and Jones, home of the Pass the Puck contest, where you could win up to $500 in free slot play during a Vegas Golden Knights home game. Check them out, Jackson's Bar and Grill. All right. Let's see here. Why don't we go to, let's see, who do we have there? Rita. Rita's calling from California. Hi, Rita. Speaking of California, what's going on, Rita?
Hi, Brian. I just want to tell you, I just discovered you a little bit ago. There was a TikTok lady, I can't remember her name right now, but she recommended you. Just listening to you talk to the MAGAs is very cathartic for me. I love hearing your arguments with them, and you always bring up facts, and you're always getting them to try to bring up their own facts, and I appreciate that.
Those are alternative facts that they bring up. Those are alternative facts.
And I love it, and I just think it's really cathartic listening for me, and it's encouraging for me to listen to that because sometimes I feel
that means a lot to you. Thank you. That means a lot to me. Thank you.
On my own, then sometimes I don't feel like I like it when I see other people that I feel like
I suffer for all of you. Trust me, I suffer for all of you.
Thanks so much.
Sometimes it is a little mentally challenging. I'm sorry. Go ahead with your question. I'm sorry, dear. Go right ahead.
Oh no, it's okay. I wanted to ask if you think there's going to be at any point a tipping point, like where I think I see some of it happening right now, but I think if I'm not mistaken, they're voting on the budget proposal tomorrow. But
right.
Is this going to be a tipping point at some point where?
So it depends so it depends what you mean by tipping point. Here's the best way I can answer that question. There are always going to be a percentage of those that voted for Donald Trump that are cultists. Just like when he said, I can end someone's life on Fifth Avenue and they would still support me, right? You're not going to change their minds. They could lose their job. They could have $500 in the bank and they would, donate $500 to a campaign no matter what. So you're not going to get through to those people. Now, what is the percentage of those people that voted for Trump? I don't know. I'd be willing to say probably at least half. But I do think that there will be, this is my opinion, I do think there will be a tipping point, and that will be the midterms. I think MAGA Republicans are going to be in a lot of trouble. America is not going to be saved. Not that we've lost America, but his promises will not be fulfilled. And I think there are going to be at least half the people that voted for Donald Trump that are going to have buyer's remorse. There are already people that do. And I think they'll finally be able to smell the roses and say, okay, I'm not voting for this guy, and I'm not voting for MAGA Republicans that support his agenda. Now, I'm hopeful that that will happen. I don't know if it will, but that's my personal opinion. If you're going to ask me about a tipping point, I'm going to start in the midterms.
Okay, that's good to know. I'm just I'm trying not to get terrified about like everything that's happening right now.
Live your life. Live your life. Don't be terrified. Live your life. Life is short.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate you. I'm going to keep listening.
Thank you so much. Thank you, my dear. I appreciate you. Thank you. Let's go back to Pennsylvania, shall we? Let's go to Tina. Tina is calling from Pennsylvania. Hi, Tina.
Hi, Brian. I'd like to say, first of all, thank you for standing up, because this is the time that the people need to know exactly what's really going on. So thank you for speaking truth to power.
You got
it. Something that I have not heard, Brian, and it really bothers me, it is about all these, I think they said 3.2 million voters purged off of the voter roll. Why aren't we talking about that?
I'm not aware.
Why do we concede so quickly?
Well, here's what I'll say to that. As far as I know, there's no evidence of widespread voter fraud. And I said the same thing in 2020. Elon Musk probably broke some laws, but I haven't seen any evidence of widespread voter fraud that could have changed the outcome of the election. And unless somebody shows that to me, we have to move forward now. The election's over and it wasn't contested. And that's the best way I can answer that question. We have to move forward and make sure a maniac like this idiot doesn't get back in office in 2028. Have to make sure that in 2026 that Democrats show up and vote and they have a better midterms. That's the best way I can answer that question. I appreciate the phone call. Thank you so much. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Washington. Let's go to Lori Lee. Lori Lee is calling in out of Washington. Hello, Lori Lee.
Hello, I'm a veteran that called a couple times before. I just wanted to know, wanted to ask folks out there to keep veterans and VA staff in their minds, because this administration is harassing the staff that takes care of us, and they're threatening to take away our service connection disability pay. They've already cut a lot of jobs at the VA, so appointments are being pushed out. Contracts with vendors are not being paid right now.
Yeah.
So we can't use the Choice Act / Mission Act to get outside care from the VA that the VA doesn't provide either, because they're not paying their vendors.
Yeah.
And they're canceling contracts.
Mm-hmm. Well, when you think about that, think about the way Donald Trump has conducted business virtually his entire life and all the people that he's screwed over.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, think about that, for starters. So I think that's really important to note. This is the way this guy has conducted business. And as I've always said, if you've lived a reckless life, you're going to be a reckless president.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I don't even consider him. I mean, I had a TSSCI in the military. You couldn't even go in and out of a skiff with a tissue in your pocket. If you blew your nose inside the skiff, you had to throw the dirty tissue out before you left it. Yeah. How the hell did he get all them secret documents the hell out of there? Who helped him get those out? I mean, it makes my skin crawl. The man's a traitor.
He's worse than a traitor. He's a criminal too. I obviously concur with you 150%. Thank you so much. I also want to thank Savalos, who went on my website, pushingthelimits.live, and made a donation. Thank you so much, sir. That's very kind of you. On the Super Chat, we're a few short of our goal. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. Who are we going to next year? Let's see. Let's go to Mary, who's calling from Massachusetts. Hey, Mary, thanks for calling in.
Oh, hi. Well, I think the thing that Putin has on Trump is more that when Giuliani was getting rid of the Italian mob in New York, I think Trump's like Russian mafia. There's never a power vacuum. And the Trump family filled the void. And they're actually basically Russian mafia. I mean, if it talks like a duck, walks like a duck, it's a duck. He acts like mafia. And what can I say?
Well, I think if you're a so-called mob boss and you look up to evil dictators, you probably want to be one for yourself. I think that's a very fair analysis of where we're at today. He wants everybody to kiss the ring. He doesn't want to be challenged in any way, shape, or form. And I think that's evident and that's important.
Yeah, and the behavior is very clear.
Yeah.
But where was the mob in New York when the Italian mob was gone?
That's a very good point. I completely agree with you, and I appreciate your call. Point very well taken. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. Let's go to Susan, who's calling from Florida. Hi, Susan. What's going on?
Hey, Brian. How are you?
Hey, good.
First
What's on your mind?
caller.
Thank you.
Oh, my God. I've been listening to you for quite a while, and I just love you, like
Thank
everybody
you.
else.
I appreciate that.
Okay. So,
By the way, we have a live audience in the background, by the way, if you're watching on YouTube. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. So somebody called in a little while ago and was talking about votes that weren't counted. They were thrown out. Did you ever hear of Vigilante Inc.?
I have not.
Oh, my gosh. You're going to have to check it out. It's all about that. And believe it or not, it's legal. Okay?
Yeah.
And it's like somebody could just say, I don't believe so-and-so lives at that address. That's all they have to say. And they throw out the ballot. So check that out. It's really informative, and it talks about just millions of votes that got thrown out all over the country.
I did not hear of that, and I don't want to rain on your parade, but I think we have to move forward. I understand what you're saying, and there are certainly concerns, I'm sure. But with that being said, I think we have to move forward, and we cannot move backwards. I think that's really, really important. All right, we're going to try to take a few more phone calls, and then we have to go to break. It's 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. All right, who are we going to next here? Let's go to, Sandra is calling from Alabama. Let's go to Sandra. What's up, Sandra?
Hi, Brian. I've been waiting for a long time. I've been listening to you for a while, and I love everything that you do.
Thank you.
because this time that we're living in, I do believe it's going to get rougher for us all.
Yeah.
And I hate that it's going to happen, but we got to live through this just like the rest of them that thought they didn't have to go through this.
Yeah.
And I really think their votes were based on racism instead of policies and things that he had that he was gonna do. And I think that's the reason we're in the shape we're in now, only because of that.
Well, there's a lot of people that we need to blame. It starts with Donald Trump and members of his administration and the Republicans.
All right, yeah.
The Republicans with no backbones that continue to support him, knowing how dangerous it is. And then we also have to blame the people that voted for him. I'm sorry. I'm not going to be nice anymore and say that some of these people, they're just ill-informed, but they're good people. No, you're complicit. If you still support this man at this time, you are complicit and you shouldn't be allowed to vote. That's my personal opinion. Thank you for the call, my dear. I appreciate you. Let's try to take a few more before we got to go to break here. Let's go to Nancy, who's calling in from Michigan. What's up, Nancy?
Hi.
Hi, Nancy. Go right ahead.
Hi. I was wondering if you could have like a representative or a congressperson or somebody on here and then like ask the questions like what can we do? Why haven't they done more? And also why hasn't he been impeached?
I'll tell you what they would say. I don't mean to sound robotic, but many of these politicians are robotic. Here's what they would say. Call your representative, peacefully protest. That's really all you can do. There's really, I wish there was a magic wand I could say, here's what you need to do to get Donald Trump out of office, and here's what we need to do. No, you need to be active. You need to make sure they have a great midterms coming up here in a year and a half. Call your representatives, peacefully protest. That's exactly what they would say. And, yeah, I mean, I wish I had a better answer for you. That's really the best that you can do. Let's go to Ray. Ray is calling from Florida. What's up, Ray?
Hey, that clipping that I sent you about the airline pilots, that'll give you a little more insight into how they were trained.
Yeah.
And
I did get that.
And how good they were.
Yeah, I did get that, Ray. And it goes to show what you and I have said before, which is many of these pilots are trained well. It doesn't matter what the color of your skin is. They're all properly trained and equipped. The problem isn't with the pilots. It's not with the people on the plane. It's the people in the air traffic controllers and those that are working 60 hours a week. Ray, you know what I mean? That's what it comes down to.
Okay, something else. Speaking about Trump building a hotel and a golf course in Russia, I thought, well, how could he find the golf balls in the snow over there? I thought, well, his balls are not white, they're black.
Yeah, maybe orange. I don't know. Thank you for the call, Ray. All right, one more quick call, then I got to go to break. Let's go to Frank. Frank is calling out of Wisconsin. What's up, Frank?
Hi, Brian. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
You were talking about the town hall meetings. I saw a couple. You got to see this one in New Jersey. There was a Republican town hall meeting, and this man has 2 kids, and he's married, and he's calling out the Republican representative. I mean, he chewed his butt out because it was over his health care.
Yeah, we are seeing more and more of those types of conversations throughout the country. I apologize, my friend. I am up against a break. I have to take a break, but I wanted to squeeze in that phone call and give you a couple seconds there. And I appreciate your call, sir. Thank you so much for your phone call. We appreciate you. And we appreciate all the people that have been so generously donating on pushingthelimits.live. Thank you so much to Kim, who donated $20 on pushingthelimits.live. We appreciate you, Kim. Thank you so much for your very generous donation. Also, thank you so much to Lawrence Miller. Lawrence, a very generous donation you made, Lawrence, and it's because of you of why we're able to go on the air and do what we do. We appreciate you. Doris also went on there, and she said, thank you, Brian, for being here for us. Keep speaking truth to power. We appreciate you so much. Well, I appreciate you so much as well. And let me say again, without people like you and Darcy, who made a happy birthday donation to PTL, thank you, Darcy, for your donation as well. Without you guys, I wouldn't be here. So trust me, I'm very humbled, and I appreciate that very, very much. All right, so here's what we are going to do. And by the way, on the Super Chat, I try not to forget everybody. PJ, thank you for your donation on the YouTube Super Chat. We appreciate you very much, and we put your comment up there on the YouTube screen. So I like to talk about pleasant things, happy things from time to time. We talk about a lot of serious topics on this show. And coming up next, it's a wonderful event that I'm going to be a part of with the Armed Forces Chamber and the veteran-owned businesses in Las Vegas. It's a charity golf event that I'm going to be a part of. And the organizer of that event, her name is Demi Rodriguez, and she's going to come in next. It's important to celebrate those that serve and to do what you can to help those people. And that's what we're going to do in the next segment. And I hope you'll stick around and listen to this because I think it's very, very important. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back in about 90 seconds. You're listening to Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP.
Hey, everybody. Are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premier Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super. Hero, that is. Because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
Have you ever dreamed of having your own radio show or a podcast, but just didn't think it was possible? Well, dreams can come true. Radio U. Radio U is a 5-day course that'll teach you how to acquire your dream show. We'll teach you how to host, how to write commercial, how to interview, how to market, how to write a contract, and most importantly, how to monetize your dream radio show. You'll learn from some of the best in the business with over 75 years in broadcast experience. You'll learn from people like me. And the best part? Every single student will be live on the radio as part of the class. Plus, one student from each class will get their very own radio show. You'll be live on the air right here in Las Vegas. Radio U. The 5-day course is being offered at $699. For more information, give Radio U a call. 702-763-5024. That's 702-763-5024. Or check them out at RadioYOU101.com.
Who would have thought there'd be so many kids playing ice hockey in the desert? Jake Helps Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, founded by Gina Yusufzai 8 years ago, made it possible for families who can't afford the equipment and fees. Donate today at www.hockeyforkids.org and help us continue making a difference. Join us in supporting Jake Helps Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, where every kid gets a shot at the starting line. Just a reminder, our website is www.hockeyforkids.org.
It's time to wake up and win the weekend. You're listening to the boss of the big ball. JP the Cat, giving you that grease. Saturday and Sunday from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Pacific time for the live action on Vegas Scoreboard Express on KSHP 107.1 FM and AM 1400. Dive into the game day with my in-depth analysis, expert predictions, and winning plays from the sharpest minds in sports betting. It's more than just placing bets. It's about securing wins. Head over to jptheticket.com and be sure to tune in to KSHP this weekend from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Pacific time to ride the winning wave with VSX. Tune in and get your money back from the sports book. All money, all sports, no bull. Missed the live show? Subscribe to Vegas Scoreboard Express on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, and wherever you enjoy your favorite podcast and radio listening.
All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Monday. Quick programming note for you. I won't say his name. I'll let it be a surprise tomorrow. But one of my favorite musicians of all time is going to be joining us on the show tomorrow. He happens to be a big Donald Trump supporter, so you know we're going to get into a good political conversation. So look forward to that. That will be tomorrow. We have a January 6th insurrectionist that's going to be joining us on the show Wednesday who got a pardon. So that's going to be interesting. And some more surprises. I want to say thank you to Robin for her donation. Thank you, Robin, on the YouTube Super Chat. She made a donation. She said, wanted to update you that survived the MAGA wedding this past weekend. I wore my blue dress, my pearls, blue bracelet, and you're safe with me pen. I think that's awesome. Thank you, Robin. And thank you to, of course, Jackson's Bar and Grill, the official gaming bar of the PTL radio show, home of the Pass the Puck contest where you can win up to $500 in free slot play. Please check them out at Flamingo and Jones, Jackson's Bar and Grill. Also, my website, pushingthelimits.live, where you can also make donations and buy PTL gear. We appreciate all of you. The response has been fantastic. So sometimes on this show, I really enjoy talking to people in the community and those that are making a difference and those that are holding charity events and teaming up with some great organizations, which I have done in the past as well, and I will continue to do. So I'm very lucky that I know a personal friend of mine. His name is Andre Haynes. He's a great guy, and he's a part of the Armed Forces Chamber, and he linked me up with this event that's going to be taking place in Las Vegas. It's the first annual Coast to Coast Classic, and they're partnering up with the Armed Forces Chamber for a golf tournament. And the person who is joining me in studio right now is one of the organizers of this event. Her name is Demi Rodriguez, and she's the co-owner of Coast to Coast Fitness. And this is also helping those and linking those with veteran-owned businesses in Las Vegas. I mean, we have to support our veterans, and this is one of many ways that you can do it. Demi, thank you so much for being here. How are you?
Very good. Thank you, Brian, for having me on your show today.
And thank you for putting this whole thing together because, you know, I have a lot of veterans that listen to this show. And I think we've had like 5 or 6 veterans that have just called into the show today. And there's all sorts of different ways that you can help veterans, right? And this is one of them. Be a part of this event because there are plenty of veterans out there that own their own business, right? So talk to me about that.
Absolutely. So my husband and I own Coast to Coast Fitness. We are Centennial Hills private neighborhood gym. Him being a veteran, he served in the Marine Corps. And so transitioning out of the military, looking for careers and job paths, it was awesome that he was able to take his passion and bring it to life and us able to open up our own fitness center. So we're very proudly owned and operated here locally and veteran owned. We were linked up with the Armed Forces Chamber throughout the years because they are an awesome resource for veteran-owned small businesses. So we're very grateful for their support as an organization here in Vegas and for us being a veteran-owned business.
That's so cool. And I need to hit up your gym because I got to tell you how I went up 2 flights of stairs and I was out of breath yesterday. You know when you're really in horrible shape? When you hit golf balls on the driving range and you're out of breath, okay? That was me. It was terrible. It was pathetic. But anyway, that's another story for another show. So so I want to talk a little bit about this golf tournament. And I love golf. Who doesn't like golf, right? It's fun. And the weather right now in Vegas is like absolutely perfect.
Very nice.
It's beautiful. And we're setting this golf tournament up, which is this Friday at a beautiful golf course called Reflection Bay. It is a beautiful golf course. And it's a 4-person shamble format. And it includes cart feed, breakfast, range balls, buffet, lunch, and a gift bag. Are you guys doing like a raffle too, by the way? I was going to ask you about that.
Yes, we will have raffles.
Because there's the guy I'm bringing out there who's definitely going to be buying plenty of raffle tickets. I've already
Awesome.
talked to him. That's super cool. So tell me the specifics about this event.
Absolutely. So being our first annual Coast to Coast Golf Classic, we are really excited to bring the community together, veteran-owned businesses. We have sponsors throughout this event that will have a designated hole to be able to share more about what they do and the services they offer. For players and participants, this is a shamble format, which is a little different than what people are used to in these tournaments, so scrambles. This shamble is actually a best ball. So you you take the best drive, and then everybody plays out their ball from there. So
Gotcha.
everyone will putt in.
And you can't cheat, right? So
No,
Donald,
no
Donald Trump
cheating.
is not, I'm sorry, I had to make a joke. Donald Trump is not invited. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Absolutely. Yes, no cheating. But a lot of fun, still able to play your golf and of course enjoy a day of fun golf with, your friends.
So how can, if people want to be a part of this, doesn't matter where they live, they could live here in Las Vegas or out of
Absolutely.
they're coming into Vegas.
Absolutely.
Where do they go? Is there like a website? Give me the website.
Yes.
I have it right here, but I'll have you
Of
do it. Go ahead.
course. So www.coastfitness.com. There's a tab right there at the top that's Golf Classic. From there, there's a registration sub tab.
Okay.
So they can click the link right from there to register. They can pay right then and there as well. Also add the other players they may be golfing with in their
Gotcha.
group. It does include breakfast. So what's nice is unlike other tournaments, this is full on breakfast on the cart, ready to go with you. And then of course, lunch afterwards.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Let's talk about veterans too for a moment, because, as I say on this show every day, and I think you'll agree with me, your husband being a veteran, and thank him for his service.
Oh, thank you.
Without our brave men and women in uniform and those that risk everything, I wouldn't be allowed to be an idiot on the radio every day, right? And we can't take that for granted, right? We cannot take that for granted. And there's a lot of people that are concerned. I mean, there are people that call into my show that they're afraid they're going to lose their health care benefits. They're afraid they're going to lose a lot of their benefits, right? And so what can we do, even if we're not lawmakers, which I'm not, right? You're not a lawmaker. I'm not a lawmaker. We can be a part of events like this where at least we know we're supporting the community. We're supporting those that maybe own small businesses. There are things that we can do as a community to help our veterans. And quite frankly, I don't think we do enough. I don't think we do enough. I'm not talking about you.
No,
This
thank
is
you.
great.
Absolutely.
But as a whole, I don't know if we do enough. And I think more people need to do events like this, right? You know, and I think this is so important. Is your husband going to be playing, by the way?
He will be.
Oh, okay,
Yes,
cool.
he's
So I
very
get to meet her.
excited.
Cool. That's awesome. So, you know, going back, to what I said earlier, we have a lot of veterans that listen to this show, and they're all like really concerned and worried. And I'm sure your husband talks about this. Like, what are the conversations like with your husband talking about, you know, benefits for those that have served? What are his thoughts on that?
Oh, of course. So it's hard to speak for him, but of course, when it comes up in conversation, when it comes to benefits, it's something that very grateful to have the benefits as a veteran, but sometimes could be difficult to find the resources or the information. I think the lack of information is where there's some difficulty. So I feel like definitely being on top of whether it's like the VA and certain health benefits, really being on top of it, not being hesitant to reach out to them with any concerns you have. A lot of times people might assume they're not going to get back to me, they're not going to help
Right.
me, but if you know, it doesn't hurt to try. And if you do continue to put that effort in to make it happen, it's still there. No matter what, that's still, that benefit's still there.
And if you don't mind me asking, where did your husband serve? What?
So he served in the Marine Corps.
Oh, wow.
And he was stationed in Camp Pendleton, so Southern California, for 4 years.
Wow.
His MOS was communication artillery, if I'm saying that correctly. But he did serve. He went on one non-combat deployment. Really, very much enjoyed being able to be a part of that. But
that's so
yeah,
cool.
it definitely was a life experience.
Sure. Well, your husband's a hero.
No, thank you.
What made you guys decide to run this fitness facility? What made you decide to do that?
Of course. So going back to a little bit when he transitioned out of the military, he had a passion for personal training and would just train his fellow Marines, friends for free. Just did it for, you know, the passion for it. When he came out, he started to interview at different gyms, and a lot of these gyms, especially in Southern California, they are looking for people with experience in a gym. So he was coming fresh out of the military, had a ton of education and experience working out, but they were very selective. So it made it hard to take that into a career. We just decided he contract himself as a trainer. He built up his own clientele, his own book of business, training them. And that was online. So we started off online. About a year being online, apparel and personal training, we had the opportunity to open up a fitness center. There was actually a gym that was going out of business. So to be able to bring our brand and gym to life was a huge blessing. So it really stemmed back from the military, just having a difficult time transitioning out and figuring out, what do I do now? Where do I work? You know, where do I fit in? And really just paved his own path for that. So that was awesome. It was really incredible to see that part of him come alive.
And I think, you know, working out or getting involved in sports, it helps you not only physically, but there's no doubt it helps you mentally too.
Oh, 1,000%.
Which could be just as important, maybe even more. So
Absolutely.
I want to give out this information again. So this golf tournament is this Friday, and Demi Rodriguez is joining us in studio. She's the co-owner of Coast to Coast Fitness. Her husband served, as you just heard, and they have actually teamed up with the Armed Forces Chamber and veteran-owned businesses in Las Vegas. If you want to be involved, if you will be in Las Vegas and you want to play in this golf tournament, I will be there. It's going to be a lot of fun. You can register at www.coasttocoastfitness.com/registration, and that's where you can team up and grab a foursome, or if you're just an individual, you can sign up as
Absolutely.
well.
Yes.
If somebody wants to make a donation and they won't be able to play, can they go to that same website and do that?
We do have sponsorship donations as well that is going straight to the Armed Forces Chamber. So
Gotcha.
if it's not through us, we absolutely do want to highlight and spotlight the Armed
Gotcha.
Forces Chamber. They're an incredible resource to veteran-owned businesses out here in Vegas.
That's well, Demi, thank you so much for doing this. It sounds like it's a lot of fun, and I'm going to be talking about this tournament all week, and I
Awesome.
will certainly be there. It's going to be a lot of fun, and thank you for what you're doing. And
Thank
I
you.
can't wait to get out there on the links and meet your husband. He sounds like a great guy, and can't wait to get out there and play some golf. So thanks, Demi. I appreciate you being here.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Check it out. And again, that website, again, is www.coast2coastfitness.com/registration. And we appreciate Demi for being here. And I will be on the links there and supporting this wonderful event. Speaking of support, I get people all the time who say, how could I get more involved in your radio show? Check out my website, pushingthelimits.live, where you can buy merchandise and make donations. Thank you to everybody on the YouTube Super Chat for joining us today as well. Been another fun day and a lot of news that will be breaking, I am sure, and we'll have it for you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Everybody all over TikTok, YouTube, the FMAM dial, the Occupy Democrats Network, the Washington Press Network. We appreciate all of you very much in what is the fastest growing show, not just in Las Vegas, but across the country. Have a great day, everybody. We will see you tomorrow.
Hey, everybody, are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premium Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine.